First of all, I'm really happy to get you guys here. I think you guys saw in my review, in my exchanges with you guys, that I really, really love the band. The idea that I thought the album was great. I said, the production was top notch, the artwork, everything was good. The music videos, actually pointed out, were really, really fucking good. There was no fat on the album. I personally thought there was no fat on the album, and you guys said the reception's been really good, but it's also like, how's the feeling, right? I think it's been what, seven years since the last album.
Yeah. Has it been 7? Wow, 2015. Yeah, 7 years. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I think it's. We made it. Well, we went to record the album. I think 3 years ago.
2018, summer of 2018.
Yeah, so that's also a pretty long time. And then we wanted everything right, like the artwork and stuff like that. And then the whole Corona, the pandemic came. So then it was like, oh, are we gonna wait till it's over? But it's probably not gonna be that long. So we're gonna wait, and then we can release the album and do a gig or tour or whatever. And that turned out like 3 years.
Yeah.
And now you can maybe you can like share the album with your friends or your family, and it's fine, but you don't want to share it with everybody because it has to come out.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so it's very exciting. It was an exciting moment to finally release it and have the world like they can listen to it, and people like you, and that's really awesome. That's great.
To be able to share it with so many folks around the world is really a very, very good feeling.
Yeah.
And definitely. We discovered, my older brother is the one that discovered you guys by just like doing random research from time to time. We like to go on the internet, look up new bands, because we know the knowns, we know the guys who are in every magazine, everything. But it's very important for me and him, from the way we've always been raised, to find bands that people might not know about or might have not heard about, but are really fucking good. And I believe your guys are just like I said, I enjoy the music, and you guys hail from Netherlands, which also is a rich country in heavy metal history. There's a lot of good bands coming out of there. But I think what I wanted to ask you guys is Greek history, mythology. I found it to be an interesting topic for you guys to pick. What is so timeless and story-worthy about the Greek mythology and history for you guys? To like center a whole band around it.
Yeah. Well, the fact that it's timeless and story worth. I mean, come on, like the entire mythology, like everything we know about it. There's so many stories. There's just so many stories, and we can even take a story and put our own spin on it and make it something new as well. So there's like limitless. The possibilities are endless. So for us, that's a plus, of course. But also when we started out, it was right when 300 was released, and we were just toying with the name Spartan, and we didn't have like the whole theme back then. But the movie came out, and it was such a huge success, and we could do so many fun gimmicks, like stand on the stage and go like in between songs like Spartans, what's your profession?
Yeah.
It was fun,
Yeah.
Like everything, like about like the Greek history and like symbols and like everything, it just works. It just works. Our practice room is filled with, like, maybe we should give you a small tour.
I love it.
We've got this thing over here.
Yeah, the Spartan helmet and cape.
Yeah. We've got like an actual one from 300.
That's awesome.
Over there. Yeah, it's just.
And you know what's great? Even today, it was just today, somebody commented on one of the album review, and he was a Greek guy. He's like, I'm so proud that you did a cover of this band. As a Greek person, I'm so proud. And that, there's such pride coming from Greek people. And when somebody covers their culture, especially with respect the way you guys do, I think it resonates with a lot of people. And it's such a rich country, such a rich history. So I had my own suspicions why you picked it, but I also wanted to know yours, which 300 totally makes sense. Like it really kind of brought back a lot of interest, especially for young people, in the whole Greek mythology. Yeah. And then I guess my next question for you guys would be, is the reason I think I really, really love this band is this fusion of power metal with melodic death metal. or at the very least, how I understood it. What do you think it adds to the band Spartan to kind of have this fusion in the music?
Well, you do most of the music writing. So.
Yeah.
I wasn't. It was not like I wanted to make this kind of music. It was created by all our influences.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just happened to be that way.
Well, what kind of bands were formative to you that you kind of maybe not particularly looked at, but you think formed your initial process in Spartan that you kind of looked up to?
I think like a Trivium or Children of Bottom or Kill Switch Engage. Those are for me like the guitar stuff and in those bands are real cool stuff. And then I think Jeff and his vocals come and make more of the death metal feel to it. I don't know.
Some of my big influences are like early Dimmu Borgir and Gorefest, of course. So it's totally different. And then we've even got some like Camelot and other power metal influences in there.
Iced Earth for me as well.
Oh man, you said Iced Earth. You're already my brother automatically. You notice. I think it's the mishmash of things that you guys are saying is the reason I wouldn't have picked almost any of those bands. Maybe Camelot, and that's the cool thing, how beautifully it blends in the music. That creates, I would say, a unique brand of, if you want to put it under one label, melodic death metal. But I don't think it's very true anymore that anybody produces music in one genre. You just kind of pull from everywhere what you like, right?
Exactly.
The thing is, when we play shows, we always want to play with a band that sounds kind of like us. But a lot of bands we play with, for instance, they're melodic death metal, and we feel like, oh shit, these guys are so, they make this really loud, heavy music, and we're like these, we play more like power metal. Yeah, we're too soft. And then when we're playing with softer bands, we're like, no, we're too heavy. So it's like, it's.
But it still works.
Yeah, but it still works.
It still works. I think the only mismatch we've had in the past was when we were touring with real black metal. Black metal, that doesn't really.
It doesn't jive. Yeah. I know what you mean.
We did a tour with Marduk and Belphegor, and it was a lot of fun, especially for me because I'm a big Marduk and Belphegor fan. But I don't think their fans really like us that much, even though we got some really nice responses from people in the audience. So
true.
You know what it is? I think the 80s metal elitist kind of viewpoint of fans has been really disappearing as of recent. People just it's okay to admit to, like, back in the day, I like Korn. Oh, you're not a real metalhead. That shit is gone now. It's like people just enjoy music, period. And I thought in the first album of The Fall of Olympus, I really loved like all those really catchy moments that you had in the songs, like in Break of Chains, when it was like in halfway through the song. And they never repeat. That's something I really enjoy, that you have this little moment, it never repeats.
Terrible for lyric writing, I can tell you that.
But you know what is, at first I had this feeling when I heard the new album, like I don't hear those same moments in the album. For some reason I had that. And then it hit me. I thought you took the album, as I mentioned in the review, into a kind of a more mature direction, which the only way I could have described it. It had this growth in it that I didn't get from the first listen as I heard the album, but as I did multiple listens and I got into the idea of what you had behind the album, I was like, oh shit, I like it more than Olympus. And my question to you, like in describing how I feel about the album, how do you approach taking risks in music writing?
I don't think we see it as risks. No, we just do stuff. And this time we did all the recordings with the producer. Yeah. And the producer was like, yeah, maybe you should do it differently. Maybe you should do like this. And sometimes we were like, well, actually, we like it this way. And he said, okay, so let's think about that and how we can, make it more into, And sometimes we were like, oh, that's actually a good idea. So we changed a little bit around. I mean, what was it? Like the entire chorus for
Prometheus.
For Prometheus.
Yeah, it used to be the same as the opening riff. like the lead guitar part should have been under the, well, should have been, was our intention to have it under the chorus as well. But then when talking to Jacob Herman, our producer, he came up with some new ideas, and I think for us it worked. It worked, and it felt better for the song as well. But I think it was coming back to your question of taking risk. I think we more approach it as taking it a step further. We wanted to do it professionally with a producer. We wanted to have it recorded at a very renowned studio. We wanted to have the best mixing and mastering engineer we could think of in Jacob Hansen. And I think by doing that, we also probably matured a bit and grew as a band.
I would agree with that. I think my only criticism would be of the past album was the production. And I think it was understandable, right? It was the first album. Was it a self-released album?
Yeah.
It's difficult. And as a longtime metalhead, I'm only 34 years old, but I grew up with metal from Russia, then to the United States. We kind of understood, sometimes you're going to hear an album might not have the best production, but it could be a killer fucking record. And it's worth supporting rather than, it's something I mentioned. I know it pissed off some people. I said, this band's, I feel like being pushed by labels. And I don't mean a shit on any band. It's not what I'm trying to do here. But I feel like there's certain bands that are being promoted and pushed, and others that I feel deserve so much more recognition and they're not. And I feel like it's just something I interviewed Dagobah. I don't know if you guys are aware of that band.
I actually did guest vocals for another project, and the singer is in that same project as well. We did remotely a song together.
And you know what it was? He told me, he's like, he knows like what it is about the digital age. He's like, guess how many albums came out last year for metal? I'm like, a couple hundred. It's like 28,000. He's like, how the fuck are you supposed to compete with that? He's like, even if you're the most amazing band. And I was like, oh shit, and it hit me.
You're lost in a pool of albums.
Yeah, and it's
right?
I think it becomes I think we fans, we have to take part in supporting bands, and whether it be searching out these bands, buying your t-shirts, the albums, or streaming it, whatever we can in any way we can to support you guys, right?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
But I can understand if you like our last album, which is not the most the best recording and production and everything, and then you think, well, it's kind of cool and everything is there, but it doesn't feel right because of the shitty recording and production. So I can really understand that, and that's why we now said, all right, we think our music we like what we do now, so let's now do it right and see if that helps us to get out there some more with a real. Then nobody can say anything about the production, because the production is great, and then if your music is shit, then the music is shit. But then at least
Yeah, and but you know what it is? I think we're all around the same age. Is the idea of we grew up with the era of, man, all the bands we love, they all had bad production in the albums. Metallica, Slayer, all of them. Every single one of them, they all had their beginning. I think younger kids now are very spoiled to get everything in good production. It's like you had to like put your ear close to the headphones to be able to hear something sometimes on the albums we really loved.
Yeah.
True. And another thing I wanted to say, in kind of relating to all that, I mentioned you guys have 2 albums, 7 years apart, this big gap. What has been the biggest obstacle for you guys, for Spartan, the kind of hurdles you had to get over?
I think getting our name out there, like you mentioned, standing out and getting booked at better shows than we were used to. I think we succeeded in some. We played in some real nice venues, but it's still basically everyone wants to go and see Amon Amarth. Everyone wants to go and see Arch Enemy. And I do think we have similar music, and we would love to play with those guys as well, but it's so difficult to get in between there. And that's our biggest struggle, and we really want to get out there and be able to play with those guys, but there's so many hurdles to take.
Man.
Marketing is like a whole different thing. It's like we know a lot of local bands, like from Holland, from our region, who are like amazing, but nobody's heard of them because marketing is really tough. How are you going to stand out between all those thousands and thousands of bands, you know? Like even reviews, like we have a couple of web scenes in Holland. There's like, you know, 40, 50 reviews there in a week. Like, what are you going to do? Going to read all of them? Most people are like, I want to, you know, see just the black metal ones. And then, you know, they scroll through and then they look at 4 or 5 reviews and that's it. You know, even if you get a review, it's still hard to, you know, get noticed. Yeah. It's just 100%. Difficult.
Yeah, like just this month is coming out, I think like 40 albums coming out this month. And even as a hardcore metalhead who has a YouTube channel surrounding that, it's so difficult to keep up with each one. And it's like you become almost like holding on to the little things that you do know and afraid to venture out.
Yeah. Yeah, at least you take the effort. I think, speaking for myself, I'm also guilty of listening to the things I already know.
Yeah.
And I'm not exploring as much as I should be, probably. But yeah, it's there's so many bands out there, like you said, it's just insane.
Yeah. There was a lot of gems in the 80s that they made 2 or 3 albums, and then they, you know, maybe create a different project, they stopped playing, and I still hold on to those albums because they're just how good they are. And out of the bands, I kind of saw the list of bands you guys toured with, which I hope one day you guys will be here in the United States. I would love to go out and see you. But you've toured with Septic Flesh, Marduk, Moonspell, and my favorite out of the list is Rotting Christ. Who left the biggest impression on you guys?
Definitely Rotting Christ.
Yeah.
Because of their ethics, their work ethics. Like we were touring with a couple other bands, and most of the guys are just, you know, drinking backstage, then getting completely wasted, trying to wake up the next day, you know, get their shit together, and then, you know, they're just coming back to life when they get on the stage, and then you know, the story just starts from the beginning and they're wasted again. The guys from Rotting Christ, you know, they had maybe a drink, but they were doing their like fitness exercises every day. They were like great guys. And the thing is, we actually got on their tour because I talked to them on Hellfest. And I said, hey, listen, I'm in a band. We do Greek mythology, you know, inspired metal. I would love to play with you guys. And the Sakis actually, he said, okay, send me an email. When I come back, we'll talk. And we talked, and he did guest vocals for our album for Fall of Olympus. We sent him an email, and the guy just emailed like the same day. He emailed his vocal parts.
Yeah.
Wow.
We asked him like, would you be willing to? And he said, oh, sure, here it is. We're like, okay.
That's a really cool moment.
Yeah, but these guys just, what else is really cool? They did everything themselves. So they're not these big egos or anything. They're just guys who play music, who've played music for a long time now, for over 25 years, I think, and have done everything themselves. And they got where they got because of, you know, the hard work they put in. And they have no ego at all. They're super nice guys.
They're very professional, like how they act, and but still be like the nicest guys, and not like an attitude for us beginners or whatever. They're super cool.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed back, was it like 2000s when they were supposed to tour Megadeth, and Dave Mustaine had his whole thing going on about, because of Rotting Christ, the name. It's like, I'm not going to do it. I was like, but he didn't really listen to the band. I was really disappointed in that. I was like, oh, come on, dude. That would have been a great fucking tour to see Megadeth and Rotting Christ.
Yeah.
But it's like shit like that happens sometimes. And I love Mustaine with all his craziness. But you guys also, I mentioned over Facebook, we kind of had this exchange, like, you know, the endeavor for you guys right now is not exactly bringing the financial aspects, but you guys are doing it out of the love of the music. And as somebody who, I'm a personal trainer, so it took a long time for that kickoff. And then YouTube, you know, it's a lot of putting time in to get anything back. So I kind of, on an emotional level, understand where you're coming from. What keeps you enthusiastic and motivated to continue and keep going strong?
I think I think a lot of it is just the Tuesday nights where we're doing like rehearsals, and that's just a lot of fun because it's our hobby. It's what we do for fun, and we're friends and we have fun. And then we play shows, which is even more fun.
Yeah.
But it's all about just jamming and goofing around and stuff. For me, at least, that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, and even though if nobody would ever would hear the album, the last one, of Kings and God, if you made that and you listen to it yourself, and the production is great and everything just worked, and I don't care if anybody else listened to it. Of course, I want to, but that is also like so cool. If you can hear your own music like in that way, I think that's also great.
It's something to be proud of. But then if it then gets out into the world and you get positive responses, that really gives a lot of energy, and really at some point it's even humbling, the words that the people are really taking a lot of energy out of our music and really getting positive vibes from it, and that's also really worthwhile. Of course, it's really fantastic to be able to do that, and that gives me a lot of energy as well. And the good part, the advantage about being so small as we are, we get to read everything now and we respond to everyone. So that's also the nicest side of it then.
Yeah.
Well, I think I might be on my 10th or 11th listen at this point of the album. And I'm kind of having it on repeat a lot of times. And the digital age, like that's something I asked Shota from Dagobah as well. He gave a very interesting question. He gave that example of 28,000 metal albums. The digital age is a blessing and a curse, I think, right? And I want to kind of ask your opinion about it, because ultimately it seems like for many bands, it's a negative because of how much it takes away from you. And I feel it's almost like becomes the most important to leverage YouTube and social media as your biggest tool to spread the message to the people that are going to enjoy your music. But I want to kind of get your view on this kind of current, it's like people don't consume albums, they consume songs. What do you feel about it? What is your opinion on it?
I think it's like the duality of it. On one hand, yes, we are able to reach a lot more people out there. And I think that's the biggest advantage, biggest bonus of being able to do it via the internet. And the other thing is also it's very easy to do it yourselves nowadays. We got it on Spotify, on Apple, you can name them all, and it's very easy to do. It doesn't cost you a lot, but on the other hand, I think that there's a bit of nostalgia involved as well, but it's very nice to have physical copies of albums and to be able to collect them. It just adds to the feel. But I think.
But they say the CDs are coming back. Like people are buying a lot more CDs.
Vinyl CDs, right? Cassette tapes.
I've got a bunch of cassettes. It's all doom and sludge. But I've got a ton of cassettes. It's just cool to collect this stuff and to listen it like on a cassette. It just sounds so different from listening on Spotify, for example. It's just it's a different feeling.
It's worse.
It's worse, but it's better because it's worse. Like there was this guy who gave me like one of my first like compilation sort of albums was a CD he burned for me, which was rips from different vinyls. And you could hear the needle scratching and everything. And there was this low hum on the CD. It was like listening to a vinyl, but even worse because it was ripped and then compressed. And
my camera died. I'll just kind of reorganize a bit. You guys can keep going. Don't worry about it.
But it was fun, And social media is like you have to use social media now.
Yeah.
And we're all not, like these social media people. We're not, sharing pictures of our lunch like on a daily basis. But it's not us.
I think it's you mentioned you were 34. We're in our 30s as well, and I think we didn't grow up with this. We kind of rolled into it when Facebook came, but it was
MySpace.
Oh, MySpace.
MySpace, yeah, my God.
When I was a kid, I was MySpace.
But it's a new world to us as well, and
you have to do it.
Yeah.
Not, well, you not have to, but we kind of have to do it because otherwise you can't compete with the other guys.
And even with big labels, you know, the problem is like the guys I've been interviewing so far, everybody says the same things. Like we are thankful to our label, but we don't get paid much from the label because the label doesn't get any money because nobody buys as many albums as they used to, which is a shame, you know. It's like, and also I think from the standpoint of fans is what we were talking about, the overload. It's happening in movies, right? It's happening in gaming if you're a gamer. It's just an overload of good stuff, not crap, good things. Netflix, you go on Netflix, there's 1,000 shows that are great and you don't know where to put your attention to.
Exactly.
I was talking to some people like the other day about how we used to be on news groups, and we subscribe to a news group and we get like these obscure black metal releases like Barathrum and stuff like that, you know, through news groups. But nowadays, like if you're on Spotify, you get the popular stuff. You get the stuff you already know in your like Discover Weekly. I get, you know, Immortal. I know Immortal. Why is this in my Discover Weekly? You know, I want to hear new stuff I've never heard before, and it just doesn't happen. No, it's really hard to find new stuff.
It falls on you, it falls on you as the listener to do the research and to be curious enough. And I've always just been, I like all genres of music, honestly, but metal is just something about it, the aggressiveness, the underground feel to it, the rebelliousness of metal. It just attracts me to it, and the aggression in the music. And I think with Spartan too, you kind of balance the idea of aggression versus melody very well. It doesn't feel like it's one-sided, because I'm one of those people, I criticize very quickly. I'm Russian. I have a very strong opinion on everything. So it's like, if I don't like something, I point it out quickly. I'm like, well, what the fuck? What does this come out from? It's like, how did you switch from one thing to the other? I never felt that with both of the albums. And I think you guys tread that line. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Satan's Host.
Yeah.
It's also a relatively unknown band. They mix black metal with power metal. And in the same way, very smoothly transition. I think it's such a cool thing that you guys are doing, which is why I thought the interview would be a cool thing, reviewing the album, just promoting it as much as I can. So at least the couple of viewers that I have that get the voice out to more people.
Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, and we were blown away by your review as well, and your reaction video, because that was the first one we saw, the reaction video. We were like, okay, he thinks it's actually cool. Yeah. And I was still like, oh, I hope people are gonna like this song, because I'm so, you know, insecure about my vocals, about everything we do, because that's just, you know, the way I am. Like before we do a show, I'm like, oh shit, you know, there's a ton of people out there. I have to like stand there and do my thing. I can't do it. And I still do it and have fun. But if we were like, I was blown away by your reaction video. And I was like, okay, not only did, you know, you really showed us that you liked the song, but you were also like pointing out these things and like, oh shit, I never thought anybody would notice this. That's so cool. Because you're always like looking for like the, you know, the common denominator, like, like, okay, we need a song that has like a headbanging bit, you know? And that's all you focus on for the song. Does it have a headbanging bit? Yeah, it does. Okay, then it's good, you know? But then all the subtle things, they become lost in the you know, in the bigger picture. And you pulled them all out, and I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I think for me, that's sometimes the most fun part, right? Emotionally, because like, I think the hardest part of a reaction is it sometimes can come out negative, and you don't, like 2 or 3 listens later, you can change your mind. And to come out like honestly exactly what you feel in the moment. I'm also not the most emotive person. Again, Russian people were kind of with stone-faced, so it's like it's like a lot of people like, oh shit, what is he gonna say? And for that one, that one I think you guys saw, it was very easy for me to kind of get into, and I just enjoyed it. What I want to ask you guys also is just, I see you guys obviously big fans of just music in general. It's what's currently on your playlist. It doesn't have to be metal, just in general, that what kind of music you guys are enjoying now.
I am always enjoying the Eagles. I'm not even joking about it. They're always on my playlist.
That's a good one.
Actually, Don Henley made me get into drumming.
Drumming? Wait, who's? I'm sorry.
Don Henley, the drummer of the Eagles.
The Eagles, yeah.
Yeah, but I think mostly, yeah, all sorts of metal, but it's mostly metal, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm the same way. It's like we probably grew up right on classic rock and all that. And then just kind of once the love from heavy metal took over and then you become absorbed.
For me, it was like Elvis, Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, Black Label Society, Iron Maiden.
Right. What you guys thought of the new album?
Not a big fan.
Not a big fan? Yeah, that's
But
a bit.
if you're a band at that level, to keep producing albums that are better than the previous one, that's impossible. It's
Well,
just
yeah,
impossible.
I think my brother said they for him the peak was Power Slave, and Brave New World just brought it up a little bit, and
That was good.
and then he's like I love what they put out. I love the album, but I think I know where you're coming from. A lot of people like Steve Harris, dude, shorter songs.
Yeah. But still, they also know that, you know, if they're playing a show, that they should play, you know, the music that people love. And their shows are amazing.
Always amazing.
Phenomenal.
To ask them, when they come to play a show as a musician and you wanna have your latest songs out there, but they always have to fall back to the stuff they produced in the 80s. And I'd like to ask them, is this also what you want to do on stage, or is it like forced upon them to play the old stuff? I think the latter, to be honest, but
I think so as well. Yeah, I think they're very enthusiastic about what they create, whether people like love their album or not. You can tell when I've seen them maybe 6 or 7 times, and every single time they just like they've never faltered.
No.
And the last question I want to ask you guys here, and this has become my favorite question to ask, is so far at this moment, because you still guys have a lot to go, is what is your proudest moment as a band, and kind of what's your bucket list thing that you would want to achieve?
I think that's a very easy answer for me. 70,000 tons of metal. I've been saying it times there. I really want to do that cruise. And it's in the States as well, you know.
I would love to. Yeah, I would love to be there.
Yeah. I think proudest moment for me was laying down all those songs in the studio on the drums. It was my first time, was the first go at it. And
the producer said, that's actually pretty good. And we were like, okay.
Yeah, he said he was the best musician of the band, and that the rest, like, maybe you can find a better band to play because the rest of the guys are shit.
Yes, that's the European way of telling things, right? It's not. It's just say exactly how it is. It's like okay.
Did you get one of the albums already? Like an actual copy, physical copy?
See, I am one of the poison. I am a digital person.
Okay, we have in the credits of the album, we gave him a nickname. His nickname is Jacob again. All he did was sit there with his hand on the record button. He would stop recording, look at you, and go like, again, and press record again. And that's all he did. And you're like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah, especially for me and Nick, the other guitarist. It was our first time, and it was so like this guy is watching you play, and you have to do it good, and it was nerve-wracking.
It was stressful, but I think it's
I
can say that's our biggest achievement, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, the way like you could actually hear the progression, like in their playing in a week. In 1 week, they got like 50 years of experience in 1 week. It was amazing to see because it was so much tighter and so much better. Like everything they recorded, like was so much better than they've ever done.
Yeah.
I think that's that people sometimes forget how important a producer can be, right? To really help bring out the talent that is there, but to really just bring it out completely. It's like an actor when they take like the first take on a movie, and it's not always the best take.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I think the famous one is the Bob Rock, right, from Metallica and Black album.
Yeah, with the bass line.
Yeah, and he's. I think that it was the first time was Metallica. They played all together in the studio to record the album, and so much so they blowed out James Hetfield's voice. Like they were all nervous playing it, trying to repeat the whole thing over and over until it's just perfect. But what say what you will about Black Album as music, production wise, holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good.
And
Well,
Yeah, I like it.
you know, I do a podcast with a guy from Australia, also like a journalist, a metal journalist, and he's not a fan of Black Album. And I'm the one like, dude, what are you talking about? That's a fucking kick-ass album.
Yeah, it is.
yeah, there's some good songs.
A lot of
Hey, it's no Master Puppets, but
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
better.
Yeah. And what I wanted to kind of close out with, guys, you guys, first of all, it must be my easiest interview because I feel like I'm talking to one of my friends. That's the way it feels. It feels
Yeah, likewise.
it feels very warm and very easy. Whereas other times it's like, oh shit, how do I get this motherfucker to talk? Come on, say something. Here it's very, very easy, and I really enjoyed it. And Russians were all about toasts. And I guys want to toast to the fact, let it be the most successful year for you guys. Let the break finally happen for you, and just complete growth. I really, really, really want to see you guys in New York, see you guys on tour. So big success for you guys.
yeah,
Thanks, man.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
And I really appreciate you guys doing this interview. Once again, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Very well.
Thanks, man.
It was a lot of fun.